Hello everyone. Today we're going to do a package switcher of CCNA1 version 7.2.7.6. Package switcher implement basic connectivity. Here's the addressing table. Device interface IP address subnet mask. Device, there are S1, S2, PC1, PC2, and interface. On S1, S2, we see the interfaces are VLAN 1. Both are VLAN 1. So VLAN 1 interface is a switch virtual interface, SVI. Virtual interface is not an actual physical interface. It is not physically visible and touchable, and no physical hardware on the switch associated with the SVI. That's because SVI is created in software, and SVI is used to remotely access a switch for management purpose. The IP address and the subnet mask must be configured on the SVI. The VLAN 1 is a default SVI. With VLAN, the V stand for virtual. Okay, and we see the S1, the S2. Actually, these two switches are layer 2 switch because they connected to end devices. PC1 and PC2 are end devices. So S1 and S2 are layer 2 switches. The layer 2 switch doesn't need IP address. Because the physical ports on layer 2 switch don't support IP address because the IP address is a layer 3 IP address. So when you see the IP address on switch, this IP address should be configured on the virtual interface, not on the physical port, because physical port doesn't support layer 3 IP address. And on the PCs, the interface is NIC. It stands for Network Interface Card. It is a hardware component on computer. It connects the computer to the internet. Objectives: perform a basic configuration on S1, S2, configure the PCs, configure the switch management interface. This management interface is the virtual interface, VLAN 1, or SVI, or virtual interface. In this activity, you will first create a basic switch configuration, then you will implement basic connectivity by configuring IP addressing on switches and PCs. When the IP addressing configuration is complete, you will use various shell commands to verify the configuration and use the ping command to verify basic connectivity between devices. Okay, perform basic configuration on S1, S2, complete the following steps. Step 1, configure S1 with the host name. Click S1 and CLI tab S1. Here's the CLI tab. All right, let's enter. Okay, we are in switch. So next, use the correct command to configure the host name as S1. So now we are currently in the privileged user executive mode. So we use a command enable to enter privileged executive mode. Then we use command configure terminal to enter configuration mode, or global configuration mode is the same thing. So from here, we can configure the host name, the command host name, followed by the host name, S1, capital S1. So you will see the device name changed from switch to S1. Okay, next is configure the console and encrypted privileged executive mode passwords. So we need to configure two passwords. One is for console line, one is for privileged mode. So console password is Cisco, privileged password is class. So we first to configure the password for console line. So we need to enter the line configuration mode. So we use command line console, because it's console line 0. 0 represents the first or the only console port or console line, because there's only one console port on switch. So we use 0. So now we can configure the password. So we use the command password followed by the password. Here the password is Cisco. Cisco, okay. And don't forget to log in. Login is to enable the password. So password, this command is to configure password. If we only configure password but without login, this password doesn't work because we need to enable the password. All right, use the command login. All right, don't forget that. Next, we need to configure the password for privileged mode. So we exit back to the global configuration mode. Here, they ask us to configure a crypted password. So we use, here's a crypted password. So we use command enable secret, followed by the password class. Do you remember we have another command to configure the password for privileged mode? That is enable password. The difference is enable secret is to configure encrypted password, but enable password, another command, enable password is to configure a plain text password. That's the difference. All right, so we did a configuration for 2 passwords. Now we need to verify the password configuration for S1. How can you verify that both passwords were configured correctly? Correct, we need to use show command. All right, so, and we use a show running config. Running config. So from here, we can see the password. Here's the console line. Line console 0 password Cisco, correct. Login to enable, good. So here you can see the console line password is a plain text. Plain text password is it displays the passwords as we typed. But here the privileged password is encrypted. Here's enable secret. And this is the password. When we configure, the password is class, here, class, but it is displayed in this form. This is the encrypted form of password. And this is the plain text form of password. Okay, that's the difference. Yeah, we finished the configuration correctly. Yes, the next configure MOTD banner. Use an appropriate banner text to warn unauthorized access. The following text is an example. Authorized access only, violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. All right, we copy this one. We're going to use this message in the banner. All right, so let's go to configure banner. So let's go to configure terminal. I'm using the short version of the command. Configure terminal. I use config T. All right, so command banner, MOTD. Don't forget MOTD. That is a message of the day. And the quotation mark enclosed the message. Okay, message. I pasted the message here, so I wanted to type it. Save time. All right, so enter. So our configuration finished. Step 5 is save the configuration file to NVRAM. NVRAM is a non-volatile RAM. Which command do you issue to accomplish this step? we need to go to use copy. So go to copy, C-O-P-Y, copy, use a command copy running config to start up config. All right. So destination file name, startup configuration. Yes, keep it. All right. So we use this command to save our configuration file to NVRAM. So there are two configuration file. One is running config, one is a startup config. Running config is a working configuration file. We are currently in the running configuration file. It is located in RAM, RAM, RAM. But when the device powered off or rebooted or restarted, all the configuration will disappear. So this is only temporarily working configuration file. Startup config is the saved configuration file located in NVRAM. So when the device powered off or rebooted, the configuration is still there, will not disappear. So that's why we need to save the running config to the startup config. Next step, repeat step 1 to 5 for S1. So we finished S1, we need to go to S2. Oh, S2, yes. So enter. So we can quickly finish this configuration on S2. First is host name configuration. So enable configure terminal. All right. So host name S2, S2. So sorry, host name S2. All right, so next the passwords for console line is line console 0. So password is Cisco login. All right, so encrypted password for privileged mode. Let's go to enable secret class. All right, so this is the encrypted passwords. So verify show run. I use a short version of show running config, SHR. Okay, console line, password Cisco login enable, good. And here enable secrets as encrypted password for privileged mode. That's correct. All right, so next we need to MOTD banner. Okay, so configure terminal banner MOTD quotation mark enclose the message. All right, okay, so it's done. Then we save. Okay, we need to save the configuration. Save is copy is save. Running configuration to start up configuration. All right, so we are done for this part. Next is to configure the PCs. We finished the S1, S2 configuration. Now we need to configure PC1, PC2 IP address. Step 1. Here I need to use the window split because I need the information in this addressing table. Okay. click PC1 and click desktop, PC1 and desktop here, and the configuration, IP configuration is here. Right, so in the addressing table above, here is addressing table. You see the IP address for PC1 is 192.168.1.1, and the subnet mask is this. Enter this information for PC1 in the IP configuration window. This is IP configuration window. We are going to copy the PC1's information, IP address information to this window. Okay, so IP address is 192.168.1.1. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. So 255.255.0. So 192.168.1.1. Okay. So we finish this part. Then PC2. We need to do the PC2 IP address. All right. So PC2's IP address is 1.2, 192.168.1.2, and the subnet mask is same, 255.255.255.0. All right, we finished this configuration. PC1, okay, repeat on PC2, we did it, all right. And the test connectivity to switches. So PC1 to S1, let's ping from PC1 to ping. So go to PC1 and command prompt here and the ping. S1's IP address is here, 192.168.1.253, 192.168.1.253. It's ping from PC1 to S1. PC1 to S1. This ping to see if it's successful. No, it's not successful. Here, are you successful? No. Explain why. That's because we only configure PC1's IP address. We still don't configure S1, S2's IP address on the VLAN 1 interface. So that's why the ping is not successful. So next we need to configure the switch management interface. Configure S1, S2 with an IP address. So now we go to do the configuration, IP configuration. On S1, S2, switches can be used as plug and play devices. This means that they do not need to be configured for them to work. Switches forward the information from one port to another based on MAC address. Okay, if this is the case, why would we configure it with an IP address? Yeah, because the switch use MAC address to forward the information, but why do we need to configure IP address on it? That is because this IP address is not, this IP address we configured on S1 or S2 is not for the information forwarding. This IP address is configured to remotely access the switch for management purpose. And also this IP address is not configured on the physical port. It is configured on the SVI virtual interface. All right, so that is the reason IP address configured on S1 is for the management use, not for the information forwarding. All right, so that is why. Use the following command to configure S1 with an IP address. Okay, so S1 Let's go to S1. Use the following commands to configure S1 with the IP address. Okay, here, let's go to configure terminal. And we configure IP address on the interface. So we need to go to the interface configuration mode. So interface, here the interface is VLAN 1. All right, so now we can configure the IP address. IP address command followed by the IP address. S1's IP address is this one. This one. Okay, so 192.168.1.1253 and followed by the subnet mask. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Enter. So our configuration not finished yet. So we need to use command no shutdown. No shutdown. Okay. So exit. All right. Why do you enter the no shutdown command? Why do we use no shutdown? Because the interfaces and the SVI include SVI is down by default. So we need to use no shutdown to enable the SVI or enable the interface. Next step, configure S2 with an IP address. So S1 is done. So S2. Okay, so S2 use the information in the addressing table to configure S1 with an IP address. All right, so let's go to configure terminal. Okay, interface, still VLAN 1. And the IP address. Here, IP address is S2. S2 IP address is 1.254. So 192.168.1.254 followed by the subnet mask is the same. All right, it's the same. 255.255.255.0. Okay, no shutdown. Don't forget. Because the interface is done by default. So we need to use command no shutdown. Okay. IP address S2. Okay, verify the IP address configuration on S1, S2. Use a show IP interface brief to display IP address and status for all switch ports and the interfaces. You can use show running config command. Okay, now we're on the okay. So now we use the show IP interface brief. Okay, so yeah, here's a VLAN interface, VLAN 1. On this interface, we configured the IP address. The IP address only configured on the VLAN virtual interface, not on the physical ports. The fast Ethernet or gigabit Ethernet, these are the physical ports. Okay, these ports don't support IP address because they use MAC address to forward the information. All right, it's correct. Status up, protocol up. And S1 to show, okay, show IP interface brief. It's the same VLAN 1 interface IP address. Up, status up, protocol up. All right. Oh yeah, well, here said we use a show running config. Okay, show running config. Say VLAN interface. Here's the IP address. Okay, here's a subnet mask. 255.255.255.0. Yeah, in the IP interface brief, they show IP address, but no subnet mask. Here's the status protocol. If you want to see the subnet mask, you should go to the command show running config. Okay, I think it's to the same. Show run. See VLAN 1 interface IP address subnet mask. Good. All right, so now we need to save the configuration for S1, S2 to NVRAM. Save. Okay, save. We use the same command. Is copy running config to start up config. Enter. Yes. So, and S2 as well. Copy running config start up. Okay, I use different short version of the command. You can see. Okay, all right, so we finished the IP address on switches. So now we check here. Our completion status is 100%. That means our configuration is it's perfect. So actually we finished our configuration, but here they ask us to verify the network connectivity. Network okay, can be verified using ping command. It is very important that connectivity exists throughout the network. Corrective action must be taken if there is a failure. Ping S1 and S2 from PC1 to PC2. Click PC1. Command prompt. Ping PC. Ping S. Okay. Ping PC2. Okay, ping PC2. PC2's IP address is here. 1.2, 192, 168, 1.2. Okay, success. TTL, that means success. And the ping S1. Ping S1. I use a up arrow. Okay. S1 is a 253, 1.25353. Okay. So from PC1, ping S1 is success, TTL. And the ping S2 is 254, 254. Okay, here. Success. Yeah, success. Good. So all ping should be successful. Yeah, it is successful. So now we are, we perfectly finish our configuration. And this, let me remove a split so you will see the whole. So now we finish our package of today, implement basic connectivity. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, please thumbs up and subscribe my channel and share with your friends. See you next time.